Hi there, now I've got to be careful what I say here and waffle for at least 30 seconds for the algorithm. In March 2020, police forces launched a nationwide position against a specific sudden national incident. And there is no escaping the fact this discovery is an earthquake, both criminally and politically. And that's me quoting the investigators' words, in evidence of abuse. And this has significant impact constitutionally, but more of that towards the end. I'm John, and this video covers the exposing of a very serious cover-up. What exactly was it? Who did they abuse? And how did it shape the response? The evidence now shows between March 2020 and June 2022, every police force in the UK operated under one national command structure, and they called it Operation Tala. On paper, it was simply pandemic policing coordination. In reality, it was something very different and much, much darker. And now leaked documents and FOI releases now prove it issued central instructions that stopped thousands of public reports about vaccine injuries, care home deaths, and other criminal actions from ever being recorded or investigated as potential crimes. I don't know if you're aware, I'm not even sure most police officers do these days. They operate under their own discretion as individual constables. That is, that they are their own judge on whether the action they are taking is lawful and appropriate. And a senior officer cannot demand they do something as an order. And repeatedly stated in court cases across the country, this is the case, including the Court of Appeal, R.V. Durham, 1979, if you want to go and check it out. But Operation Tala threw out those rules. Now, Ian Clayton of Ethical Approach UK, an investigative campaign group, along with former police officer Mark Sexton and solicitor Phil Hyland, has uncovered the entire plot through relentless FOI requests, and after reviewing their own evidence and information given to them. In this video, the officer clearly explains the position. Let's have a listen.
On both occasions, we're wanting to hand in very serious witness statements.
Is this papers in relation to vaccinations?
Yes. No, it's no.
This is what the appointment's about.
But more than that. More than that.
Alan Spears, listen to me. Assistant Chief Constable Alan Spears has issued instructions to the Police Service of Scotland that we are not to take any requests of this matter. We are not to deal with it. Okay, that is the official police.
Who's made that?
Assistant
statement?
Chief Constable Alan Spears.
Right.
So that's Police Scotland's Assistant Chief Constable Alan Spears sent a force-wide email in 2021 telling officers do not create crime reports for alleged vaccine fraud or injury and treat it as intelligence only. Diabolical. Hey, listen, if you like this kind of stuff, please consider a like and subscribe. Small channels need all the help, and it really does. Also, leave a comment. What are your thoughts? Thank you. So what is the significance of this discovery? Well, the official cover story was that they engage, explain, encourage and enforce. Except it isn't, is it? It's the famous 4 E's. What it really was compliance, obedience and control. These guidelines were never ever law, and yet they were enforced as if they were. It's not just the police, the judiciary is guilty too. The officers engaged, as you could see, refused to accept the evidence and explicitly cite in this instance Spears' directive for the reason for their refusal. And this is confirmation that a senior officer, an Assistant Chief Constable, Alan Spears in this case, had issued an unlawful directive for officers to follow. An unlawful directive for officers to follow. And this was the enforcement plan to control our behaviour via the police, whilst the medical professionals did their worst. But the group went on to discover through relentless FOI requests that National Police Council's owner guidance, as seen on the screen now, Reports related to COVID-19 vaccines should not normally be recorded as crimes, so it was a national campaign. And that same email line appears in multiple forces' internal briefings. Durham Constabulary, Thames Valley Police, Police Scotland, all have confirmed via an FOI responses. And with enough time and resources, no doubt many more would follow. And as I understand it, reading Ethical Approach UK's reports, they've gone out of their way to prevent this getting out there. The police are actively hiding this criminal activity. They are complicit in it. The Spears Directive and the blanket non-recording policy in Scotland was in fact nationwide. And what might be democide, or at the very least serious harm, reduced to intelligence gathering. It's absolutely sickening. So that single instruction was mirrored across the UK under Operation Tala. And we know that thousands of members of the public walked into police stations with evidence they had, be it packs, statements, and they were all turned away without a crime number. Some were given a crime number only to establish they were later closed down. And some presented full prosecution case files directly to courts, only to find that they were also rejected. Meaning the operation wasn't confined to just the police. As I said, the judiciary were actively involved. No investigation, no evidence log, nothing. Many of the information just disappeared. Why does this matter legally? Under the Criminal Procedure and Investigations Act 1996, police must record a crime if on the face of it a criminal offence has been committed, and they must retain any and all material relevant. But Operation Tala's guideline told them nationally not to do that for an entire category of allegations and reports, against the stated policy, against the police constable's oath of office and their duty. That is not a conspiracy theory, it is a proven conspiracy. That is a direct contradiction of statute issued from the top of British policing over 2 years. Unbelievable. Let's look at the care home angle. In April 2020, we saw a 200% plus spike in midazolam prescriptions in care settings. Official NHS and ONS figures back this up. In March and April of 2020, the Department of Health under Matt Hancock ordered roughly 2 full years worth of the UK's normal annual midazolam supply in just a few weeks. Doesn't exactly have a long shelf life. There was no logic to this. Midazolam is mostly used as an end-of-life drug. An end-of-life drug. You can take whatever you want from that statement. And this has been confirmed by Accord Healthcare and the DHSC tender documents. So in the following month, April 2020, community prescriptions of injectable midazolam shot were up almost 90%. Absolutely staggering. And that's from an average of 22,000 prescriptions in April to over 41,000. And again, this is all NHS and ONS figures I'm quoting. And this went almost directly into care homes and end-of-life care settings. That's where it went to. Why? And that same period, we saw nearly 27,000, so 26,500 excess care home deaths in England and Wales alone. You don't have to be a medical expert or even that bright to see the connection. And because that stockpile drug only had a 24 to 36 month shelf life, it either had to be used in that period or thrown away by 2023, 2024. You should be, quite rightly, upset. The families who subsequently believed that their relatives had been oversedated and wanted an investigation for any potential unlawful activities were met with this same wall. Operation Tala refusing to record the reports as crimes or even consider investigations. The mechanism that blocked vaccine injury reports also blocked those care home deaths. Excuse me. The mechanism that blocked vaccine injury reports also blocked those care home death reports when they touched That's state policy. Whose fault is this? Well, we can only speculate at this time. In my own opinion, the police have been politicised for a very long time. This was very much planned at the highest level, and we know our institutions are absolutely stuffed with wrong-uns. Instead of promotion based on ability, where coppers would rise through the ranks, it's now the yes sir, no sir, 3 bags full brigade. Typically university indoctrinated, who previously would have been sidelined to community policing and the control room to keep them out of the bloody way. But now they're right at the coalface, handing out orders left, right and centre. But even worse, once again, this is a massive breach of the Constitution. The Constitution is very clear, and it has been since 1215, the Magna Carta, and later on in all the foundational documents, that the separation of state from judiciary and police is sacrosanct. Safeguards that are put in place to prevent this very thing happening just been discarded. It is communism, police-state actions. Listen, regardless of how Operation Tala was marketed, the documented outcome is this. A central command structure told every police officer in the country for 2 years not to record or investigate allegations of harm arising from government COVID policy. That is now undeniable because the paperwork is public. And whether you call it protection of state, or liability shielding, or something darker, the evidence trail starts and ends with Operation Tala. Now, there are some good senior police officers, but they now need to start coming forward. It's time they step up. It's time to clean house. But it's not just the police, it's right across the political spectrum. We need action. But we need a proper statutory inquiry that can compel witnesses under oath, not the fictional predetermined COVID inquiry they've just had, which was, we know, had a predetermined outcome. More communism, that was the result. It's the only way we'll ever get a full picture of what comes out, although I suspect they will probably even fudge that. Anyway, thank you for watching, and as I say, do tell me what you think in the comments. Till next time, see you again.